and welcome to Indianomics. I have a very special guest, someone whom perhaps the entire business community and the entire financial sector, why even the nation will want to hear, the man who's in charge of banking supervision in the Reserve Bank of India, Deputy Governor Mr. SS Mundra. Mr. Mundra, thank you very much for joining us. You know both sides of the pain of the regulator, and with your long career in commercial banking, you know the pain of the bankers as well. So I'm not going to start with pain. Let me start.
Very good.
Let me start with a hint that appeared to come from the governor in his latest speech. He suggested that recapitalization bonds issued by the government could be one way of recapitalizing banks. Should we expect that sometime soon? Is that an idea?
I think this is one of the several options which could be on the table. And of course, if I recollect correctly, it would not be a new instrument, or it would not be an instrument which is used for the first time. In fact, the very first transition from being a private bank to nationalized bank was through this route only, as you must be very well knowing. What I think is essentially is the suggestion that number one, if there is a fiscal room already available, so something is already prescribed in budget, and I think the finance minister made for some additional announcement. So it suggests that there is some fiscal room which is available. So that is the first choice. Governor did mention that RBI had been doing its bit and would continue to do its bits in providing those kind of some space to the government by way of as much as dividend as we can provide. And then if it is further needed, then this could be one route, which is almost which will be the cash neutral for the government. I think the point is not immediately to pick up one instrument, but the idea is to say that capitalization is a need and it will have many positive impacts. So it should not be postponed for any kind of constraint. So if those constraint emerges, we should be prepared to use the various instruments. I think that is the pitch.
Yes, that certainly was what he was saying, that we should have enough fodder to fuel growth.
Yeah.
So capital is needed. Therefore, we should expect the capitalization bonds in FY17?
I think it will depend on the total how we as we progress in the quarter and what kind of capital need which would emerge for the banks. But as I mentioned, you had a certain announcement in the budget, you have the additional announcement, and probably the fiscal room may continue to build up. So I don't think that it will be a very kind of black and white that there is a need or there would be a recapitalization bond.
There may not be also.
Yeah, if a direct contribution or the capital infusion is possible, then it can always remain as one more opportunity which can be used.
Okay. In that case, from what I'm getting from you, the arithmetic which the government and RBI were working with, that they will give 70,000 over the over 3 years, 25, 10. That was what the government was working with.
Yeah.
That may, under current calculations, be less. A little more than that is needed.
If I look at, this estimation was done at the time when we started on the AQR journey, and then it was supposed to be over 2 quarters. So we have seen those quarters, December and March. And typically, if you look at those quarters, that finally the recognition and provisioning which has come is certainly much more than what was suggested by us, identified by us. So it's quite clearly that banks have done the proactive action. They got more convinced about the merit of doing this, probably which they were, to begin with, they were a reluctant player in the game, but probably they have become quite a willing player. So from that perspective, requirement may be little more. But then little more has already been indicated by way of 12,000 plus than the 25,000 which was originally envisaged. And of course the RBI rules.
25,000 came after knowing AQR, sir. Now after knowing the extra provisioning that banks have made over and above the AQR and the watch list, surely you need more capital.
Yes, but then after that RBI provided some room, as you are aware, by harmonizing the rules, and this 12,000 is coming. What I am trying to say that there were two components of the AQR exercise. One was which was to end with March 2016 and another which was to continue in the 4 quarters of 2017. The point which I am trying to make, that what we look as the enhanced activity which has happened in December and March 16 is quite possible that it is some of the fast forward of 2017, which otherwise, would have happened over the 4 quarters. If it has been pulled forward, to that extent the requirement of 2017 may get compensated.
We were given to understand by sources that another AQR could happen in probably smaller assets, probably other banks. But is there another review that is being planned, that is underway?
See, as far as I am concerned, there is nothing like another round of AQR, which is immediately either planned or warranted. But since you have mentioned that you have got the information from sources, so if there is another agency which is now prepared and empowered to carry out the AQR, then okay, I'll be interested to see.
We will defer to your opinion since you are the last word on the matter. But are you getting a sense, you spoke about the provisioning and the stress declared by banks to be higher than what RBI anticipated. The governor made a similar observation. So you think now most of the stress is known, that at least in some quarter, maybe first or second quarter, we could see the stress starting to decline? I mean, we would have bottomed out, as it were.
I think two things. One, of course, it will be a repetition, but I gave the same analogy in my interview other day, that as long as you are using the kitchen for doing the cooking, it would be very unrealistic to expect that there won't be any wastage and the garbage can would always be empty. In a running business, there would be, incremental delinquencies which will keep on coming.
I'm not saying no incremental delinquency. I'm asking accelerated pace.
Yes. Only one thing which will continue to play in next few quarters, because if you see the last exercise, since we are living under a rule-based dispensation, and I think you people have also been expressing surprise many times how it is possible that such and such account is NPA in one bank and not in another, and I think I was at pen to explain why it happens, and it happens for all the right reasons. So that convergence will keep on happening. Convergence could be either the suffered one may become the healthy one, or those who are in may. So this will see some interplay in next 3-4 quarters. But by and large, I think all the known dimensions have been identified and addressed.
Okay. So I'll take a break on this note. But thereafter, the S4A, as it is known, the structuring of stressed assets, and the sustainable part of that. Those are the rules we want to discuss.
Sure.
Back in a minute.